Brother lads, welcome back to Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. Declan Rice has the permission to do medicals with Arsenal. William Saliba will sign his new deal at Arsenal today. This weekend, by the way, not today, but this weekend. And we're also going to be diving into Ethan Nwaneri's scholarship. He stays at Arsenal. Arsenal beaten Chelsea and Manchester City to the signature of Ethan Nwaneri. And Granit Xhaka will be going to Leverkusen, but the price will be going up. Arsenal think they are being cheated in this deal, and now we are asking for £20 million. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. It's a lot of stories to dive into as Arsenal get busy in the transfer window. We are talking Julian Timber, we are talking Declan Rice, we are also talking exits in terms of Granit Xhaka as well. Let's get this video to 500 likes and let's dive into the content right about now. Let's start off with the William Saliba one, because this is the most important deal Arsenal had to do this summer. And Mikel Arteta and Edu had made it a priority, and they have made it a priority that we won't sign any players until we had an agreement with William Saliba. He was on top of the to-do list. And of course, you look at all the other players that had signed their contracts. Gabriel Magalhaes done. Martinelli done. Saka done. Ramsdale done. So you were looking at Saliba as the only remaining piece to the puzzle. The rest of the players like Martin Odegaard do still have contracts until 2026, so there is nothing to worry about. And of course, Odegaard would love to stay at Arsenal, but William Saliba's contract runs down next summer. Arsenal were really in panic mode. Arsenal were really panicking. But we did find an agreement between the two parties, Arsenal and William Saliba's entourage. It is believed that he will be earning close to £190,000 per week, which I actually don't have a problem with. Yes, he's young, and you don't want to have very many young players earning 190,000 early before they peak into their careers, because then that creates a problem in the future when bigger clubs come in for them and you can't match the salaries they're offering when these players are peaking or are entering their primes. There is at times it could create a problem. But Saliba will sign his new deal this weekend, and that means he commits to Arsenal until 2027 or 2028. Literally, that means that by the time Saliba will need to resign or renew his deal, or by the time his contract actually expires, Saliba will be around 25, 26. Now, that causes a problem, in my opinion, because at 26, 27, that is when a centre-back is peaking. That is when centre-backs are entering into their prime. They've amassed this huge experience. They have the pedigree, and they become more formidable. And I think they played a couple of players to know how to react in different situations. But I'm really happy that Saliba stays. I'm really happy that Arsenal have secured the signature of Saliba, despite the fact that Bayern, who are losing Luka Hernandez, were actually trying to sign him, despite the fact that PSG were trying to use their French links to actually sign him, and also despite the fact that Real Madrid were there watching, saying, if he doesn't sign, we are up there, we are going to grab him. But he signs this weekend. That deal should be announced, and it will be sealed. So probably this weekend or next week, Arsenal will release the announcement. But this Sunday, his agent will be alive and present at Carrington as he signs that new deal. Now, Declan Rice has the permission from West Ham to do his medicals with Arsenal. So next week, we expect Declan Rice to be put to medicals, and if he passes them, he will sign deals and contracts with at Arsenal to become the most expensive English player ever in history. Now, that is because Jack Grealish is 100 million net, and Jude Bellingham is 103 million euros. So that means that at 105 million pounds, if he signs, Declan Rice is going to be the most expensive English player ever in history, and he will be an Arsenal signing. So he will do his medicals. I think the parts that are left with are the easier parts. The moment you agree the price with the player's club, bids accepted, payment terms sorted. Look, I know there are a few things that need to be sorted out. According to what I've heard, the financial situation of a club like Arsenal is very different from the financial situation of a club like West Ham. What I'm trying to say here is that if Arsenal wanted a loan, maybe 50 million, maybe 100 million, we could get it from Kroenke Sports and Enterprises with that, at fixed interest terms. So that means that our loan wouldn't be increasing, right? With changes in the interest rate. West Ham do not have that luxury, and that's why they're saying Arsenal need to give them fixed payments in installments, and they have to be absolutely substantial. Because one, they're looking at getting loans, or they could get loan or credit from any financial institution against that 100 million deal that they've done with Arsenal. And that's why the deal has to be handled with absolute care so that it actually propels West Ham into success rather than into demise, all right? So, but look, the player will do his medicals, and for me, that is pretty much done. I've not had so many players failing their medicals. In January, I think in January there was a player who failed his medicals. Was it Jackson? I think Jackson, the Nick Jackson, the boy who was signed at Chelsea. He failed his medicals, and he was going to go to Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth, yeah, Brentford or Bournemouth, one of the two. I think either Brentford or Bournemouth. And he failed his medicals. But it is not a regular case that a professional football player will fail his medicals. So the harder part has been done. Mikel Arteta has done the bigger part of the work with Edu and Richard Garlick. So it is now in the hands of accountants to see that this one gets over the line. Okay, so I've also heard that he will be putting on shirt number 41 actually, that he's requesting that during his media shooting, he actually represents 41 at Arsenal. Now, I'm not really sure how you people will feel about this one. I would have wanted him to go with a shirt number like 5, if Partey leaves, like 5. I don't know if Gabriel can give him that 6, but a shot number like 6 as well. But listen, 41 for your 100 million signing. I mean, it just doesn't make it. It just doesn't look fancy, right? I was reading the history of Arsenal, and the reason that's why they changed the name from Dial Square to Royal Arsenal is the fact that Royal Arsenal would sound grander and stronger than Dial Square, and it really, really does. So Rice 41, 100 million. It just doesn't sit in my head. Like if it was a Milan player and he was putting on shirt number 100 or 88 or 99, I would be okay with that. But 41. But anyway, he says he wants 41. He wants to carry on the legacy of the shirt, even at Arsenal. And I don't think there is a big problem. Apart from me, being a little bit picky. I don't think there is a big problem with that. But if we're talking about problems, there is a problem with the Granit Xhaka deal. So Arsenal know that Xhaka has an agreement in principle with Bayer Leverkusen, and Arsenal have already shown consent to agree a deal with Bayer Leverkusen at around 13 million for Granit Xhaka. However, there is a twist in this one, and we're going to be diving into the real reason why Arsenal are changing the parameters of the deal. So the reason, the twist is Bayer Leverkusen want to offer Granit Xhaka a 4-year deal. So he's 30, right? So they want to offer him a deal until maybe 33 plus an extra year, which would be 34. Or they could offer him a straightforward deal from 30 to 34 or 33. Now, Arsenal are saying if he's going to Bayer Leverkusen as a long-term signing, as a long-term player, then the money should be more, right? So I think initially Arsenal had thought that because he's 30, and they are only willing to give him 1 more year or 2 more years on his deal, Bayer Leverkusen would give him 2 years plus an extra year, or 3 years plus 3 years straight. But Arsenal is saying that if they're going to sign him as a long-term player, on a long-term contract, then Leverkusen has to pay 20 million to Arsenal. Now, this still doesn't make any sense. It is absolutely fishy. Absolutely fishy. Now, listen, let's start off with Xhaka and the leaving part. Xhaka has already said goodbye to his fellow teammates, and his family is one of the reasons as to why he's moving. His family is the major reason actually he's going back to Germany. They feel comfortable there. They love the environment, and I think due to the sarcasm and abuse, they're tired of London, which you will understand, right? And I think they've told him, you've had such a very good season. Your legacy is kind of intact now at Arsenal. You can leave, right? I don't think Mikel Arteta thinks the same way. I think Mikel Arteta is doing this. I think Mikel Arteta is trying to block Xhaka's exit from Arsenal. He loves him. Like, he absolutely loves him. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. There is that connection a manager has with a player, and you could see it. Xhaka is one of the most reliable and durable players at Arsenal. Like, when it comes to playing, to amassing minutes, he's a player that will play 38 games, 33 games, and above every single campaign. So it's only understandable as we go to the difficult stage, that we go to a stage where Arsenal have not been in 6 years, for Mikel Arteta to try to keep his longest-serving leader in the squad in Granit Xhaka. But I think it's a little bit unfair here. I understand Mikel Arteta's point of view, and I really, really do understand it. But why I feel it's unfair, and this is, again, really, really my opinion, I kind of feel like Xhaka has given everything last campaign. Actually, in the last 2 campaigns, Xhaka has given everything to Arsenal. And he's now earned the right to request for a move and earn it, right? If this was an Emile Smith role, you could outrightly reject it. You could say, no, we are not selling. We are not selling you, right? You are part of our project, and you could convince the player. But if Xhaka and his family feel it is time to move on, it is time to find new adventures, better adventures, go on to something different, I think Arsenal should definitely let him go. Now, with Kai Havertz in that area, of course, it will cause panic modes in Mikel Arteta. Is Kai Havertz good enough defensively? What if Kai Havertz does not pay off straight away? What if he doesn't peak in his first season? All those questions are going to be there. But the real answer to the question is, have we given our word to Xhaka that we will let him go at the end of this campaign? If we find a replacement, yes. Have we found a replacement? More than one. We need to honor our word. So 20 million for Granit Xhaka would be very good, man. Look, to be honest, the football he played last campaign, I felt like that 20 million is very little money. And look, we need to learn to sell. Kovacic has gone to Manchester City for 30 million from Chelsea. Kovacic is almost the same age as Xhaka. Of course, they don't have the same footballing abilities, but I'm saying if they got 30, we get 20. So the 20 million from Granit Xhaka, it's absolutely alright. Okay, it's okay, but I don't think we should try to block the move. If we're trying to get more money, well and fine, but not block the move. Ethan Nwaneri has signed a long-term scholarship at Arsenal. Of course, there's been a lot of talk about the 15-year-old or now 16-year-old sensational talent that Chelsea were trying to sign him, and Manchester City were also trying to acquire his services. But according to what I've seen from David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano, Ethan Nwaneri always wanted to stay at Arsenal, and there was never going to be any changes to that. His heart was always set in stone. The deal that he would stay at Arsenal was ever and always set in stone. So Ethan Nwaneri stays at Arsenal for another long time. Now, I think with young players, Patino is trending. Charlie Patino. With young players, Arsenal have to be very, very careful, because Chelsea have done something absolutely magnificent in this window. What Chelsea have done, and I really, really loved it, is they have gone and cashed in on those assets that came from their academies, or players they added to their academies at some kind of later stage, and that is going to save them from FFP. Just imagine, Mason Mount has gone to Man United for 60 million. Mason Mount has gone to Man United. Mason McTominay Mount has gone to Man United for 60 million. Like, that is in the books. That will account as a 60 million profit for Chelsea. I think Arsenal should also look at the same thing. Players like Eddie, players like Nwaneri, players like Charlie Patino, all those players, the likes of Omar Hutchinson, I think we should do the same thing. We should be better at loaning out our players so that they can get good exposure and we can get good money out of them, because Chelsea are using the model and it's clearly working for them. It's absolutely working for them. Can you believe that Chelsea have raised close to 300 million already in less than a month? Yes, in player sales, they have raised close to. Of course, some of the players are some good Deadwood, Koulibaly, Mendy, and a few others. But you look at Chelsea and how they play with their academies and how those academies earn them some good money. I think that's what we should do. So Nwaneri stays. The effect of signing a big player obviously has had its impact already. Rice in Nwaneri stays as well. We'll be diving into some of the other stories as time goes on. So hit the like button and stay tuned.